grand, whatever, please be party people and they mamas. We got 30 minutes on the clock, Hina. This is episode 64 on August 17th, 2026. This is being recorded, I think, like August 4th. I actually don't know what day it is, but we are here in New Orleans, NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm grateful to be stopping here in the midst of my road trip. I am on my way to Birmingham. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But this is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because I am recording with my phone instead of my dad's phone. If you guys know, again, you know. If you guys don't, you don't. If you guys have been watching the podcast, you guys know that I've been having storage issues and running amok, as I've been saying, and my dad's phone is dead because unfortunately at Lalo's I left my charger and that has been difficult for whatever reason. But anyway, my storage issues are all throughout the universe whack, so I am attempting to record a shorter episode with the time that we have in the space that we have, because this is a gorgeous space. I'm sure you guys can see the hustle and bustle of the city behind me, and I'm here at Vintage Cafe on their patio. I didn't know that I was going to be able to record on their patio. Again, such a sweet, cute little space. I thought that I was going to be having to record inside, which would have been fine, but this is a patio podcast at the end of the day. So I wanted to be on the patio, so I felt very lucky that someone literally was leaving as I was setting up. I was setting up inside, but yeah, this episode's called Summer, and it's titled Summer because we're in the midst of summer, right? So this is October 17th. This is hibiscus lemonade tea from here, and it is quite delicious. I'm very grateful to the barista for creating it. And it is keeping me cool in this heat because, again, we're in the midst of summer, and I feel like I have been forgetting the fact that we have been enjoying summer a little bit, even though I've been running amok, like I've been saying. I've just been making so many plans, and again, as I've been saying like a million times now, if you guys know, you know. And if you don't, you're gonna find out real soon if you continue to watch the podcast. But first, you know, I wrote this list of items that we would go over months in advance. So to speak on it today and know that some points have been achieved and some haven't, I guess that's just the way of the universe. If you guys remember last year, I learned how to swim, and that was an emotional and spiritual journey to say the least. And I put swimming question mark because I was wondering, did I get to swim? I knew I wanted to invest time into it, but living in Houston, like, it's so much more difficult than Austin to find a water hole to swim out with your friends, like Barton Springs, or even like neighborhood pools are far and few in between. Whereas in Austin, like, every single neighborhood comes with a pool. And any single time you go to your friend's house, you're like at the pool. Like in Houston, in an apartment complex, oftentimes your pool is closed or like someone smashed glass in it. Like, you know, people in Austin care to uplift their pools and keep them as community spaces. So yeah, because I've been living in Houston and because I have not been making the time, it's more like I haven't had the time to go to Austin. I have not been swimming, but like you guys again know, things are about to change and I'm about to travel a lot more, so I'm going to prioritize swimming. That's like the biggest thing right now. I don't feel like I've lost that skill because unfortunately, like earlier in my life, I've told you guys I was not like biking for 20 years, and then I rode a bike last year again. On top of learning how to swim, I like found out that I could still ride a bike, and I think I remember telling y'all, but if you guys don't remember, I had like started having dreams of riding bikes and like doing these crazy things that I've never done before, and I was like, well, it feels so easy, like it feels like it's going to just come naturally once I have the item to make it all come together. So the same goes for swimming. And the next thing that we have on the list is this concert with Joaquina. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before. You guys know about the Joaquina, and Joaquina is so kind that for my birthday we're going to Toronto and I'm going to see 303, which is like one of my middle school favorite bands, and one of their favorite bands Bowling for Soup, I think is the name. Oh my god, maybe I'm incorrect. I have like the name easy like to achieve on the tip of my tongue often, but for some reason it just goes away and I feel embarrassed because again there's like only 3 bands that are at this concert, and the other one is like a quintessential again middle school band that you hear on the radio, but you would not go out of your way to see, I feel like. But I don't know, maybe some people do, but again I don't even know the name. But if you know this show, the tour that they're going on, then that's the show that we're gonna see. They're performing in Austin too, but we're just going to Toronto for the one time because it's on my birthday, and that is a very summer task also, to go to a concert in a different city with your best friend. And again, I'm on this little road trip right now on the way to Birmingham, and you guys know that after Canada I'm also going to be traveling all throughout Europe, so that's summer for you, I guess. Those are the things that we have to talk about, and I've told you guys for a while now that we've been like working up to something, and the traveling is what we're working up to. I actually had no idea that I was going to have the chance to record in NOLA, but I'm very grateful because, you know, I thought I was going to be on the road by now, but we have some more time. We made some more time. We got to. But like these next couple of days are going to be like a bunch of packing and then driving back, and then flights and trains and traveling. So yeah, my birthday, I'm turning 26. I'm going to be turning 26 in Canada, and that's going to be wild. I've told you guys that I've had like no sort of good birthday, except like last year was pretty good. My 25th birthday, I had got to go to Juggling Society, which is one of my favorite clubs that I had gone to in Texas. There's other things in Texas that you can find that would be things that you should do for your 25th birthday, but I was going through a lot family-wise. I don't know if I was talking about, I probably was talking about it on the podcast, because again, like earlier in the summer when I had learned how to swim, I had lost my friend Heidi, who I was supposed to meet that week, and then he was also wanting to teach me how to swim, and the 71-year-old friend Sandy had also wanted to teach me how to swim, and instead of meeting my friend for a hike, I had gone to my friend Sandy's house to learn how to swim faster than I would have, like earlier than I would have, because I would have gone like 2 weeks later. But if it wasn't for my friend passing, you know, unfortunately, I feel like I wouldn't have had that energy. Like I literally like went from 0 to 100 from having like a lot of trauma and being afraid of like drowning because of when I was a child, I was like forced into swimming lessons when I was moving back and forth from like Chicago to Houston, and you know, that's a lot on a 10-year-old. And like I had wanted to learn how to swim in Chicago, but when you're like in a new city and like you keep getting moved from house to house, like, and you have started your period, like you don't want, like for the first time, not like your millionth one, I mean, you don't have a million, you know, I'm exaggerating, but like, you know, you don't want to learn how to swim then. And like, you know, I think if you guys have been here from the podcast from the beginning, you guys will remember this piece of information, the fact that on my first time learning how to swim, like my first couple of lessons in 4th grade when I was like 10, my 3rd lesson I started my period. So it was like terrible, it was terrifying. You know, I was like 5'4" already in 4th grade. I was like so tall. I was 5 foot by 7 years old. And yeah, being 26 and being like literally just only a little bit taller than that version of myself, and like knowing how the world works and like what is appropriate growth, like turning 26 and being alive, I think is the thing that I'm most grateful for, right? Because like literally just 8 months ago I had a car crash and then a bus crash, and yeah, and now I'm turning 26 and I'm traveling and I have a new car and life is different, and that gets us to the next thing, traveling. Like the reason I'm going to Europe after Canada is because my partner and I are celebrating our birthdays together, and I feel very grateful that we have the chance to do this. lots of things have been weird. Like, you know, I'm grateful for the chance to be weathered by the storm, by the events, because, you know, again, I don't think it's easy to stop in the middle of nowhere and have like just 10% battery or whatever. I mean, I think it's like 20% to be honest, and to record with my 3 gigabytes that I have. I mean, I have a phone with like 200 gigabytes free, but I don't have my whatchamacallit, charge. I don't have a charge. Anyway, in a little bit, once I'm done recording this podcast, I am excited to go walk amongst this road, and like, you know, now I have this in my memory, and it's interesting because like I've come to New Orleans before, but like I've never gotten to sit down and like spend some time. Like every single time I've been here, it was on a Greyhound bus, and like I got to go outside the Greyhound bus station and like meet a couple of people, and sometimes the bus station was like, oh, you know, the bus driver will be here in like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, and then like it's been 2 hours, and then the lady that you've been asking the entire time if the bus driver was gonna go, if he was gonna be there, she tells you that she can end up riding the bus, driving you all the way to Birmingham. You're like, what? You didn't even know your day was gonna be like this, bro. Like, that's my New Orleans experiences in the past, right? So like, again, I'm excited to be here and sit down and like watch the fans move, and like to sit in like an Airbnb that I had last minute gotten, and it was like literally so cheap because of the host. They were so kind, and there was like also a late checkout fee that was like $35, which was like basically how much we paid to stay because of the last minute payments, and he waived it for us and he just gave us the late checkout. And again, I was so grateful because we've had this long road trip from Houston, and it's a halfway point until Birmingham, and my partner and I have done this drive before, but individually, separately, without each other. So to do it together, it's like so different. Like, I don't know, it's just like getting to experience life day by day is just so empowering, and again, hard, difficult. Like, again, one of those days that I was on the Greyhound bus, there was this man, David, on the streets. He's been living here for 50 years, like on the streets. He stopped me, and I think I told you guys about him too when I was on one of my trips on the bus. I think I might have even talked about him on the bus, on the like episode titled The Bus. Or maybe it was on one of those episodes around there, since I was going on the bus a lot, and that episode was like a stopping point, or like the ending. I don't know how to really describe it, because like, I mean, obviously I'm gonna go on buses again at some point in my life, but like it's gonna be in a different energy, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, obviously, again, I hope it's in a different energy. I mean, the only reason I was going on buses back then is because I didn't have a car, and now my partner and I both have cars, and like, again, we both had cars individually previously, but like we were driving back and forth, or like going on Greyhound buses back and forth. And this man, David, he stopped by me and he said something that I appreciated, I thought was like kind, and like, you know, I don't think the average Joe would find this kind. I think like even if you hear this coming from me, it's gonna sound like off-putting, but he said like, you know, it seems like life has weathered me, something like that. I don't remember the exact words, but like, you know, it's not the words that really matter to me, it's like the way that he made me feel. He made me feel seen, you know, like while everyone's seeing someone that's like enjoying life and experiencing and young and healthy or whatever, he's seeing someone who has had trouble, and maybe people ignore it, and like, you know, he realizes how close we are. Like, you know, I'm on this bus to have these experiences that are like blessings, and like he's living his day-to-day blessings as well, right? So traveling, that's traveling for you. And how do I do the podcast through it all? It's because of those people. It's because of people like David. It's because of people like I had met on one of my Greyhound bus trips. He was there when we had been in the bus crash. He had literally gotten released from prison on the same day that we had the bus crash, and he had to wait in 39 degrees weather with all of us outside. We all got to know each other. I kept saying home is where the friends are, you know, like something like home is the friends you made along the way, because I wanted to go home so bad. I wanted to be like in this restful place, and like now looking back at it, like everywhere is home and everywhere feels restful, you know, and like life has changed in so many ways that I could not expect, but I'm experiencing, and I'm grateful, because again, like tell me a year ago that I would be here in NOLA recording my podcast, I would be like, how? You know, like, I've only had my podcast for basically a year now, and it's like, was it sponsors? Was it this? Was it that? Like, no, like, it was the community. It was people who love you, who have your back, and like people who trust you when things are falling apart, when you're falling apart, you know. And every single person that I have brought on this podcast, you know, they have seen me through some rough times. Like, we have talked about real day-to-day events, like, again, stuff that's happening in my relationships, with my loved ones, with my romantic partners, my family, my everyone, right? So how do I do the podcast through it all? And again, it's about every little thing. It's about the fact that I have the clockina to look back on. It's about the fact that I can get a little drink to sip on. It's about the fact that I can go to a new patio and record. And I find it very interesting because also, when I had been to New Orleans before, I had been wanting to go to the Vintage, but I had not been able to, like I told you, because of the Greyhound bus situation. So there's also been times where I had wanted to purchase stuff from the Vintage to be delivered, but like it was just like way too much for what it was worth. It's like I might as well just get like the Subway sandwich that's here at the Greyhound bus station, right? So yeah, pushing through it all to get to places like this, right? Like, we've recorded on the bus before. I think like I was going from NOLA to Birmingham, like I had started that drive, right? Like, quote unquote, because it was really the bus drivers that started that drive. I was just on the commute, on the transit. And yeah, because someone was on the transit, like someone was driving for me, I was able to record on the bus, right? And like, because someone was flying me from space to space once I didn't have a car for some time, like that is when I was able to record like at the terminal, right? Like when you're getting off the plane at the gate, I was able to record, you know, like I think in multiple settings, right? Like I was able to record in Atlanta when I was on my way to Birmingham again. And I think that time in Atlanta, maybe it was in Atlanta, maybe it was Austin, honestly. I don't know, I think it was Atlanta, but I was behind the TSA, like I was waiting for my plane, and we had been delayed 30 minutes, and I was like, that's literally as long as a podcast episode, so what am I doing while recording? So that's how I do the podcast through it all, right? Like, we really just like crunch time, and like my partner's on a meeting right now, otherwise I wouldn't have the time, like otherwise we would be on the road again. And heat, hydration, how to stay cool in Houston, Texas through global warming. We're not in Houston right now, but you know, I feel like it's just as humid as Houston. I feel grateful for that, maybe even humider, right? Because we're in the swamp. And I am, again, grateful for that. I've told you guys many times that I'd rather have humidity than dry climates, because I would rather have like sweat on my body than like itch because of eczema. And I've had that before because I've lived in Chicago. So yeah, this is preferable. And I hear music right now, and that's amazing, because I'm literally like, I just skipped over a part of my notes that I wrote where I wrote marching band. Like, how do you stay cool through all of it? And in marching band, I don't think that's possible. I was like throwing up multiple times, like in a grate on the field, on the parking lot, because it's like all concrete and there's like no shade. I used to wear long sleeves and like cymbal gloves and like long pants and like long socks, a hat, a bandana. I used to like hide every single part of my skin so I would not get sunburns, and so I would protect myself from cancer. I would literally sunscreen myself on top of my clothes. I would put bug spray on. Like, we would be out there surviving. By senior year, I was like a machine, you know, getting through all of that day in and day out. And my band directors taught me a big thing when we came to Marchathon, because we would do like 13 miles in one day, because my band directors were insane. They were like, this is how you get money for your shows, and this is how you get money for your traveling. I'm like, yeah, so true. So while we were doing Marchathon, marching from house to house in each different neighborhood with the schools, we made a bunch of money while in the heat. And like, there's some places where there's like a bunch of shade, and there's a lot of places where there's not a bunch of shade, and they like prepare you for each portion, but they call it like military training. They literally say like hydrate 48 hours to 72 hours before Marchathon, and then go through Marchathon, and you don't have to hydrate as much as the last couple of days, but you will be sweating out more than you do in like a typical day. And so yeah, I keep that in mind. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing great as I get older. I am again about to turn 26 this month, and yeah, there's some days I'm not as hydrated, and then like later in the day I'm like overhydrated, and you know, you can tell with how your body is producing water. You know, you're just like, oh, I'm dehydrated. And so yeah, just keeping hydrated, I guess that's all you have, that's all you can do. And you know, I don't know how the future looks, but like the temperatures are rising day by day, right? Like we just had a huge heat wave in France, and not just France, like all of Europe. And I don't know if that's going to continue, but there's also the El Nino, which is a major heat wave coming from underground, the Earth's mantle, where I think like mantle lava produces heat that protrudes out of the crust and goes to the oceans. And once the oceans start like boiling or doing whatever, you know, eventually it like kills all of these ecosystems, and that also has an effect on our air and our carbon production. And again, day by day, you go from having the heat in the oceans to the heat in the air. And I think the last time an El Nino happened was 70 years ago. Again, this is a meteorological event that people aren't really talking about. I feel like it was on the media maybe like once, and like then it had been forgotten, and that's completely fine. You know, I guess people are having a tough time every day, and they're struggling to again even get clean water. So like we have like little time to talk about the weather, right? But again, we still need to talk about heat and hydration. So that's the reason I'm bringing it back up to our minds, because if this is not something that the media is talking about, maybe it's something that they're using against us, you know? Maybe they want us to suffer and hurt each other, right? When we just need to love. I don't know if my video is still recording because I don't have much storage, but you know, it's got like a little bit, so I would be okay with like 17 minutes, and like in the middle of my conversation I get cut off, that's fine. But I can just like record and edit later. But summer school / learning, tell me about that. We learn faster in the summer. Is that because of seasonal depression? Is that because the winter slows us down? Why don't we use that to our benefit and like give everyone the opportunity to have classes in the summer if they'd like, and not have to pay for it, you know? Like if we have free public schooling, then we should have free summer schooling too. And also like on top of that, like in Europe, in grade school, you're able to choose your schedule similarly to a college. Again, before you're even given responsibilities of like getting yourself to and from class, you are given the responsibilities of choosing what matters to you. And that's why children in Germany and France know like 4 or 5 languages by the time they're in 6th grade, and they're having language exchange programs with like a student in America, and their language exchange that they're exchanging is Spanish, you know? It's incredible. So maybe we should just utilize that. So anyway, fun stuff. The last things that we want to talk about, obviously the fun stuff. I don't mean like save the best for last, but like I say that because like sometimes you save the best for last and then you get full, you know? You have this plate and it's like all the best for last, and it's like you've been eating like the worst parts of it, but it's not worse, like, you know, you still enjoy those parts, but like just have the best for last. But then like the best part is like cooled down, and then you're like, oh my god, like wouldn't it have been better if it was like lukewarm or like a little warmer, right? Like now it's like cold, and then you're like, well, now it's not the best part. And so yeah, you know, something like a meal will teach me how to enjoy life. Like you don't have to have the best part last. So yeah, music again. I'm going to a concert with Joaquina. I'm gonna make the time to go swimming while I'm maybe in Toronto, definitely while I'm in Europe. Obviously when I'm back in Texas, I'm gonna be swimming. I want to swim all throughout the year. I want to swim in the cold months too. I want to swim indoors in the cold months though, I'm not gonna lie to you. But there's also more to talk about. Like we've talked about my addiction back and forth, and I am still working on my sobriety. But again, we have had almost 3 years sober from alcohol, 3 years sober from nicotine. We have those two back in 2023, September 1st for cigarettes, 2023, September 9th for alcohol, 2023, October 19th for vapes, nicotine vapes. and then a year later, so it's been about 2 years now from sobriety from electronic vapes, you know, those carts, disposables, and we're taking things one day at a time again. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Next week's episode is called Party. We're gonna end this episode here. That's 25 minutes on the clockina. Thank you guys so much for listening, and like, subscribe, comments, do whatever you want. Actually share thoughts about how much you hate me or love me or whatnot. Be in my community. Don't love yourself mostly, take care of yourself mostly, educate yourself mostly, participate in your community, as in like act locally, think globally, right? That's what they say. Drink some water, eat some healthy foods, and with that, until next time, bye please,